This is Everyday Spirituality from Connect.Faith, a series where we talk with people from all walks of life about how they live out their faith. I'm Pastor Debbie Bronkema, and this is April Castoldi.
Hi.
And she's here to talk about her spiritual practice, which is Mandala.
That's right.
So I just wondered if you could start with telling us about how you got started with art in the first place.
I always enjoyed drawing and crafts and things like that when I was a kid. But in particular, drawing mandalas as a spiritual path came from reading the book The Artist's Way. And one of the exercises was to take yourself on an artist date. And I found myself in a Judaica shop, just loving the looks of the menorahs and getting a book on crown jewels from the library. Like, I didn't know where it would take me, but I started drawing little doodles of what the jewels looked like on a crown, and there were all these symmetries. There would be like a big ruby with a diamond on each side, and then little curly bits of gold or something. And I think, you know, from childhood, something about that was like eye candy, as they say. And so I started playing with that, and then started kind of working in a circular pattern, and then I kind of realized that's what I was doing. And then I started seeing how it was like journaling in a way. It was a way to come to grips with the hard stuff of life, you know, whether it was family issues or I was caregiver for my mom for many years who had a lot of chronic illnesses, and I had to grapple with fears and resentments and things like that. And wherever I start when I am making a piece, even if it's in a state of deep concern or upset, by the time I get to the periphery, I feel more peace of mind.
Okay.
So
it brings some healing.
Yeah.
That's great. I love what you said about you don't have to be an artist, that it's not art really.
Yeah.
And I love how that freed up those of us who don't define ourselves that way.
Yeah, it's a passion of mine that people cut themselves out of this expression that everybody can do. You know, if you can make a mark on a piece of paper, right, you really can do it. And yeah, and it's fun too. I just think joy is an important spiritual practice too. And you know, if remembering what you felt like when you were a kid and you just scribbled with crayons could be alive and well, please do it. You know, I'll give you the crayons.
So then do you use it sometimes as an expression of joy?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sometimes some things happen that I feel so profoundly grateful for or moved by, and I go, yeah, let's try to put it into a visual thing.
Lately, I know you've been doing some work putting together your art and your passion for justice, and I wondered if you wanted to share with us about that a bit.
One of the things I realized was that drawing mandalas was a way for me to, as I said, kind of explore some of the painful experiences. And I'm not sure if this is the first project I took on, but I read some memoirs of veterans and heard some interviews and just thought about what people go through in a combat situation. And I've never been through that. But I felt like I wanted to contribute somehow to the conversation and somehow communicate to people who've had this very different experience that I'm a witness, at least. You know, I'm not there, you know, dodging bullets and watching people die and dealing with, you know, the pain of having to shoot at people when it's not what you want to do. But I could find a way that was more thoughtful than just saying thank you for your service and carrying on. So I tried to do drawings that reflected some of the particular stories that I had heard people share. There was a woman who spoke about how I think President Bush visited her husband who had been severely injured, and she just felt like he didn't get it. And she said, "My husband is broken." And you know, I just was so moved by that, so that I did a drawing called My Husband is Broken, and I had to explain to people it wasn't about me and my husband, you know.
Right.
But so I did a collection of those pieces and shared them publicly and sold them, and then I contributed the money to an organization called Soldier's Heart, which helps people who've, you know, are dealing with PTSD and that kind of thing.
So you listen to people's stories and put it into your art.
I have two friends recently who posted on Facebook about having lost their brothers, and I didn't know the stories, so I called them, and for each of those two friends, I said, I'd like to offer to do a drawing for you, you know, to share the memory of your brother. And so, you know, they're sharing with me their love, you know, what each of these people loved to do, what was important to them, and, you know, I'm putting it into a piece to give to them as a gift.
For you, one of the ways you use your voice is with art, is what I'm hearing you say. Yeah. So I know you were talking about trying to help people whose children are struggling to find their voices.
Yeah.
And I wondered, do you use art with them as well?
I had a student middle school age who happened to see some of my art materials and asked me about it, and so I showed him some, and I just loved this kid. He was just he just had the hugest heart, and he just said, "That is epic." And you know, I didn't expect him to have any interest in it, so I said, "Do you want to learn how to do it?" So I did actually. This was at Green Chimneys, a school that is for children with social, emotional, and behavioral difficulties. So I started a Mandala club there and invited kids to try exploring it as kind of a therapeutic process. And most of them came and just doodled and drew their own things, but some of them did try it out.
Do you teach it often then?
I've done workshops here and there, like a retreat. Different houses of worship have invited me to do them. Well, that seems to be usually the place where people have interest, something that's along the lines of meditation or spiritual practice. Yeah.
Right. So if people wanted to know more about you and what you're doing, how would they find out?
I have a website. It's just my name. It's aprilcastoldi.com, and it has links to the other social media sites that I use.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to share what I'm doing. And I guess I want to invite anyone who watches this and is curious to please reach out to me and to share. I love it when people send me, you know, their drawings.
The works that they do.
I'd love to celebrate any, you know, baby steps or big steps that people take in giving it a try.